All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Listen, everybody who knows me knows I left Jamaica a long time ago when I was a small child. And I was raised in the United States of America and partially raised between Jamaica and the US. One of my biggest fears is dying in the US and not having a chance to get back to Jamaica, right? And I always said I don't want to be taken out by gangsters and gunmen and these types of stuff. But damn, looking at this story right here, I don't want to be taken out by a pack of dogs either. Here in South Florida, where I live, you'll go out for a stroll and dogs are not that common on the streets like in Jamaica, where you would see a lot of stray dogs. But the stray dogs in Jamaica don't normally bother you. When you see a dog on the streets in the US, you need to get gone. You need to run. You need to find some place to be. Don't be out here trying to pet these dogs or try to think that they are okay. Most of the times, those dogs have escaped from somewhere, and those are somebody's well fed dogs who are strong and can do harm to you, as in this case right here. And by the way, I've gathered that this is a Jamaican woman. So a family is dealing with overwhelming grief after a woman was killed in what looks like an apparent dog attack in Miami Gardens, and it happened on Labor Day. Labor Day, big holiday. Doreen Broadbelt, 72 years old. May her soul rest in peace. Doreen Broadbelt was doing what she normally did. She was walking to her job at Walmart on Monday morning, Labor Day, when tragedy struck. I know before a lot of people start saying, she's 72, so why she never have a car? Why she didn't drive? Why? People walk. As far as I've been told, the Walmart she worked there for a long time, and it was close to where she lived. And you know how Kirby and older people stay already. May I stretch my foot go down here, so. No man, me can walk. It's a nice little exercise, you know? So they always be trying to stay active. You know what I'm saying? So according to this story, she was walking from her home to Walmart where she worked, and tragedy struck. I saw an interview of a Caucasian woman who is supposed to be a neighbor of the community right around the corner from where this incident took place, where the dogs attacked Miss Doreen. And the lady said, I heard the dogs barking, and then I heard them barking more aggressively and growling. But I thought that they might have saw a possum or something. I didn't know that it was a human being. Miami Gardens police found Miss Doreen suffering from multiple apparent dog bites injuries in the area of Northeast 14th Court and Northwest 196th Terrace. That attack appeared so vicious that when fire rescue team and medics arrived, they said that she had already passed away. I don't even have words to say, her daughter, Shelly Ann Williams, said. I don't know if I have the courage to go around that side. Honestly, to drive or walk on that side again. Her daughter said that her mother was on her way to her shift at Walmart, where she had worked for the past 13 years. This is a dedicated woman who was dedicated to her place of employment. She was dedicated to being employed. She was dedicated to her routine. 13 years. But when she didn't show up for work, she said she knew that something was wrong. I passed there multiple times, and the dogs, they come out and they jump the fence, she said. Neighbors also said that they had seen some dogs in the area before that were aggressive, and they may have been those dogs that were responsible for Miss Doreen's death. Right now, they're scrambling, right? Trying to find exactly which dog did it. Her daughter is wondering if the dogs may have been picked up and taken from the neighborhood, which I'll tell you a story in a minute. She also was hoping that it didn't happen again to other people, especially since there is a elementary school with kids nearby. So she said, this can happen to anybody, anyone, children coming out from school. It can happen to anybody. The Miami-Dade Animal Services officials said in a statement that the dogs that were involved haven't been located yet, but they are looking and they are investigating, and it's unclear whether the dogs were stray dogs or these dogs were actually owned by someone. Now, in response to this situation, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, MDAS, and the Miami Gardens Police Department, they promptly arrived at the scene. Currently, they said, we do not have any additional information to share as the investigation is still ongoing, is what their statement to the media read. The cause of death is still being determined by the Miami-Dade Medical Examiner officials said. Williams, on the other hand, said her mother, Miss Doreen, is already dearly missed. She's just always a person that's always been helping, you know. She's just always helping persons, helping anybody. Always a helpful person, a strong person. To live, to be in your 70s, and then to die by stray dogs is one wicked way to go. Now, there's more to the story as the story has been developing, because I saw where a picture was put out. A picture of dogs was put out. But before we get into that, I was crossing my lawn one day. And as I got out of my car, went to check my mailbox, and was making my way back to my front door of my house, I heard a sound on the pavement coming towards me that sounded like it was moving really fast, and it was something was scraping up the pavement. When I turned around and looked, it was one of the biggest pit bulls I had ever seen, and it was a white pit bull with, you could see the pink in the mouth, and you could see the red eyes. A white pit bull. And that pit bull looked every bit like it was coming to tear me apart. I don't know why, if the dog just chose somebody randomly. But the funny thing is, at that same time, I had two dogs myself. And my dogs were mixed breed with pit bull as well, and black labs. So my dogs were big. One was 110 pounds and one was 120 pounds. Two big dogs I had, but my dogs were in my backyard, fenced in, locked up. I was in the front of the yard when I was attacked by this pit bull. And there was nothing I could do. There was nothing, absolutely nothing I could do except for run and jump on the hood of my truck. And as I jumped on the hood of my truck, this dog started circling my vehicle. And the dog would circle my vehicle and circle my vehicle. So my neighbors came out, and my neighbors were speaking from their yard. And my neighbors said, yo, you all right? And I said, this dog. And my neighbor said, man, listen, you want me to call somebody? And as soon as my neighbor said that, right, I said to my neighbor, I'm going to shoot the dog. So I had my gun on me, and I pulled the gun out. And as I was aiming at the dog, because I was seriously going to shoot the dog, because I felt so violated that a dog attacked me in my own yard and had me on top of my vehicle, and I couldn't get off of it. So as soon as I pulled my gun and I started aiming the gun at the dog, Down the street comes a car, and hanging out the window of the car was a woman. And the woman said, "You gonna shoot my dog? You gonna shoot my dog?" And I said, "You better get your dog if this is your dog, because your dog just attacked me." And as soon as I said that, here the lady, she said, "Oh, now you're pointing the gun at me?" My neighbor was there. My neighbor said, "No, don't try that. Don't try that. Black man with a gun pointing the gun at a white woman. I see what you're trying to do here. Don't try that. We just witnessed your dog. That's a big dog, by the way. We just witnessed your big aggressive dog attack that man in his own front yard and made him have to jump on top of his vehicle." The lady came out of the car, and when she came out of the car, the dog's personality instantly changed. The dog started wagging its tail. She opened her back door. The dog jumped in her back seat of her car, and she drove off. So the police are looking for the dogs that might have done this to Miss Doreen, right? Okay. People, dogs, dig ways under their fences, even if the yard is fenced in, or jump over the fence and make their way out all the time. And what these people do is they will drive through the community and they will see their dogs and they will pick the dog up and take the dog back inside. So very well, the dogs that attacked Miss Doreen, the reason why they haven't seen them back in the neighborhood is because those were probably somebody's dogs who had gotten out and attacked her. Miami Gardens police have since released 4 photographs of dogs who are possibly connected to the death of the grandmother, Miss Doreen Richards Broadbelt, who was mauled to death as she walked to work early on Memorial Day. The police are actually swabbing these dogs' cheek and everything. And according to the Miami Gardens police, Miss Broadbelt was a wife, a mother, a grandmother. She was attacked. Animal services and officers have canvassed the area. They have swabbed several dogs for their DNA because the dogs left their DNA on Miss Doreen. So they don't want to go around and just grab everybody's dog in the area and wrongfully euthanize or put down people's dogs. They want to make sure that they find the right dogs who actually did this. So they are actually going through the process of trying to match the dog's DNA. One of the animals who was tested was a Rottweiler Pit Bull mix that was owned by a person named Hermestine Brooks. The Rottweiler's name is Canelo. The owner said, well, they came and they were looking for the dogs and they said, hey, I hear you have some dogs. Could we see them? And I said, yeah, what's the problem? And then they said, well, we have to swab them because of an incident that happened. So the police on Tuesday released photographs of 4 possible suspects, including the Rottweiler named Canelo. But of course, all the owners of all the dogs they have swabbed so far have denied that their dogs are aggressive. You know, a lot of people always think, oh, don't worry about it, he's friendly. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody's dog get away from them and come at you like it's coming to attack you. And then you try to run or you're looking scared. And the first thing they say is, oh, she just wants to play, or don't worry about it, she's not aggressive. And I'm like, if she's not aggressive, why the hell is it attacking me then? Well, do you think that it could have been one of your dogs who went and attacked her, is what the police is asking them. Do you think that it could be one of your dogs? CBS News Miami reporter Maribel Rodriguez was on the news trying to get the message out there. She's asking people, if you think it was one of your dogs that got away and could possibly be the suspect, please report it. Because see, if that dog did that, right, and has tasted blood and has killed, that dog might even one day attack and kill its owner as well. No, 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 they're not aggressive, and they don't run around in packs either. Your dogs are still there? Yes, no problem, Brooks said. Brooks then added that he remains confident that his dogs were not involved. He said, I hope they find the right dog, but I'm pretty sure that it ain't my dog. On Tuesday, Doreen's family held a candlelit vigil at the site where she was killed. Miami Gardens police have said that they're still investigating and they're still searching and they're still looking for the dogs that are responsible for taking Miss Doreen's life. I'm going to say it again, especially if you live here in Florida. I can speak for Florida. I don't know for anywhere else. Some states might have stray dogs that don't give any problems. If I'm in Jamaica and I see stray dogs, I don't really worry too much about them because they almost never attack. They just go about their business, right? But living in the US, I've noticed that when you see stray dogs in your community, these aren't dogs that just walk the community. This is somebody's unruly dog who got out, who is tired of being pent up in a house or however they have them, and is out to cause some issues. And very well will attack you. And a lot of the times, those dogs are well fed, they're big, they're strong, and if they get aggressive with you, there's a chance that they might get the upper hand, especially if they are a certain breed. I know that dog lovers are going to listen to this video and they're going to be like, pit bulls are not normally aggressive. They're loving dogs. It just depends on how you treat them. Nah. See, I've been around pit bulls and I'm kind of glad, even though I missed my dogs, but I'm kind of glad that things worked out the way that they did. And I eventually had to get rid of those dogs. But I remember one day my dog just started staring at me like we were enemies. And it was sudden. This is a dog that normally like laid at my foot and I would like pet the dog, stroke the dog's head. And then suddenly one day the dog just got up and just started staring at me. And I'm staring back at the dog. And every hair on the back of my neck stood up because I knew something was off. And then the dog just started growling. And I said to myself, I have to get rid of this dog. I didn't voluntarily get rid of the dog. I got rid of the dog because of financial situation. But God made things happen for a reason because I had small children in my house. And usually my dogs would stay in the house during the nighttime. And they would always be around the children. And I remember one of the time, one of those dogs jumped on one of my sons when he was really small, knocked him to the ground, and started acting really aggressive over him. And I dismissed it as the dog just wanted to play. But when it did it to me, I saw immediately that the dog had a personality switch and turned into something we never expected. There are countless stories out there of dogs mauling their owners, killing the family babies, all kinds of stuff like that. So ever since then, I've decided I don't want a dog around me. I love dogs, but I don't want one in my house and I don't want one around me or my family. With that said, though, I can't say anything else about Miss Doreen. I hope they find the dogs that did it and get them off the street and hold their owners accountable, because that woman was killed by your irresponsibleness and by your dangerous animal. And an animal like that should be euthanized, put to sleep, not allowed to live any longer, because they will do it again. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one, and I'll catch you on the next video. My sincere condolences goes out to Miss Doreen's family and her loved ones. I don't wish this on anybody. May her soul rest in peace. I'm out. Peace.